Here's what's making headlines today. We're keeping you in the loop on the possible Inner Harbor desalination plant project. Senior reporter Suzanne Stevens will be live with an update for us. Plus,
in need of a birth certificate? I'm Michaela Chavez downtown. I'll tell you what you need to know before picking one up and what to expect before walking through here.
Your KRIS 6 News at 5 starts right now. Well, thanks for joining us. I'm Clara Benitez Cortez. We'll get to those stories in your neighborhood in just a bit. But first, new developments in last night's deadly shooting in New York City. An NYC police officer and at least 3 other victims are dead after a gunman opened fire inside a Manhattan office building. Police say 36-year-old fallen officer Dieter Rule Islam was there working security. The Park Avenue high-rise houses the offices of the NFL. It says one of the employees was seriously hurt in the attack. Police identify the suspect as 27-year-old from Las Vegas with a mental health history. And back here at home, it's one of the most expensive projects in city history. Today, City Council is being asked to pour another $50 million into the Inner Harbor desalination plant. Senior reporter Suzanne Stevens joins us live from City Hall and has been following this story for us. Hi, Suzanne.
Hey, Clara, this vote could decide whether this project moves forward or stalls indefinitely. Council members are being asked to whether or not to stick another $50 million to bring the project into 60% design completion. This is a pivotal vote. If council says no, the design stops at 30% and the city potentially loses state funding. It loses the option of $535 million from the Texas Water Development Board, plus it loses potentially the millions already spent. There are a couple other options, like a 30% completion with a price tag of $20 to $25 million. That's on the table if council doesn't want to spend the $50 million. Then move up to 60% design completion, possibly in September. This moment comes weeks after political turmoil. Just 2 weeks ago, KRIS reported the project cost had ballooned to $1.2 million and more than doubled what the city had been talking about. In a tense vote, council members moved to strip the city manager of his spending authority. And behind the scenes, KRIS 6 uncovered text messages and closed-door talks about possible recalls targeting council members who pushed for more oversight. Since then, questions have swirled about transparency and whether this project really is the city's best long-term water solution or its biggest gamble. And now with another $50 million on the table, this vote could push this vote to the point of no return. Live at City Hall, I'm Senior Neighborhood News reporter Suzanne Stevens, KRIS 6 News.
All right, Suzanne, thank you so much. And Corpus Christi City Council is taking a harder look at how to enforce its rules during public comment and what to do when residents cross the line. Today, council members discuss potential consequences for violating the city's rules of decorum. Neighborhood News reporter Alexis Scott talked to the mayor, who says the goal isn't to silence anyone, but to make sure council chambers remain a safe and respectful space.
Action on it.
It's very important that we understand that it should be a space where people feel safe to speak, to listen, and to be heard. And lately, that has been compromised.
The policy comes months after city leaders tighten language around decorum. They say they'll continue working on how to apply these rules fairly and consistently. Well, the Nueces County Appraisal District has denied tax exemptions for 13 apartment complexes in the Corpus Christi Housing Authority's workforce housing program. Those exemptions would remove $7.4 million annually from local tax rolls. The Housing Authority's legal counsel said he had not seen the written decision and declined to comment. Under the program, the Housing Authority acquired apartment land at no cost, then leased it back to original owners who expected property tax exemptions in exchange for designating 50% of units for moderate income residents. In June, the City Council declared the deal apparently illegal, citing violations of the Texas Open Meetings Act. Under this program, the authority has already collected nearly $1.6 million in land lease fees from the apartment properties. And the first private-public brackish water desalination plant is operational in Alice. Neighborhood News reporter Melissa Trevino caught up with Alice City Manager Michael Esparza at the inauguration of the plant. Esparza says nearly 10 years ago, officials began thinking how the city would survive if there was no water in Lake Corpus Christi. 2 years ago, the city and Seven Seas Water Group broke ground on this first private-public brackish water plant. Now Alice's concerns of not having water for their citizens has eased with the operational plant.
That's the whole purpose of this, is to be drought resistant, have an uninterrupted water supply, and that's what we're doing. So yeah, it gives us comfort that we'll be able to survive as a city.
Currently, only one of 2 water wells has been operational since June, providing more than 1 million gallons of water per day. Before they went operational, Esparza says TCEQ approved the use of operating the plant, and they test the water regularly to make sure the water is safe for residents. A second well is expected to be running in just a few months. And now switching gears, meteorologist Stephanie Lauber is standing by with the Weather Center to show us what's in store for the week. And it was another hot one today.
Yes, we are going to be feeling that more apparently over the next couple of days because, of course, the big difference maker is that humidity, how muggy it feels outside. So let's show you a couple ways that you can beat the heat, a couple of pictures to help spark the mind on how we could practice heat safety. Of course, heading out to the coast, good option. Don't forget the SPF 30 or better. Make sure that you have a way to cool off, though. It's important to stay hydrated. Of course, keeping the pets hydrated, make sure they have a cool place to hang out. But beating the heat is hydration in part. You need to actually keep your body cool. And it's difficult to do that when we have a lot of water sitting in the air. Dew points help us understand that. As the sea breeze came in this afternoon, it brought with it a good deal of humidity, especially for the coastal neighbors. Dew points in the 70s, feeling quite yucky, if I can say that. We drop off to drier air as we head inland. What does this all mean for how it feels in your neighborhood? I'll walk you through the next 7 days in your forecast in just a few minutes.
And the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, is the largest anti-hunger program in America. But the recent passage of President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill will result in the largest cuts the program has ever seen. Ivan Rodriguez reports on how these cuts could impact families and also local economies.
For the last 86 years, SNAP has helped millions of low-income families buy nutritious food.
It fills a crucial food gap for the most vulnerable people in our country.
James Ziliak is the director of the Center for Poverty Research. He says SNAP has served as an economic driver for local grocery stores and communities. In 2023, SNAP accounted for $124 billion in sales at 262,000 retailers, half of which were at superstores such as Walmart, while a quarter went to supermarkets. If recipients no longer have access to SNAP, it could lead to an economic hit for some communities.
That's going to reduce spending at those local stores and therefore could create some economic hardship and even in the most extreme case, potential closures of those markets.
House Republicans say the new law will restore integrity to the program and benefit grocers by pushing more people to work. New work requirements expand to parents with children older than 13 and people ages 55 to 64. But studies show work requirements for SNAP do not increase employment.
People don't jump into the labor force in big droves when they get confronted with work requirements. But what they do tend to do is drop out of the program altogether. They're going to become more reliant on food pantries or churches or other charitable organizations to provide assistance.
I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
Out with the old and in with the new. I'm Adam Beam with a look at the changes coming for Taft students ahead.
This is Veterans in Focus, sponsored by the Heil Law Firm, battling for justice, winning for the community.
Well, Halo Flight provides medical transportation for people across South Texas, and it's proudly staffed by military veterans. From the sky to the scene, patient care is always the priority. According to the Director of Safety, Jonathan Keish, says safety has to come first.
What we do here is effective. Safety isn't something you have, it's something you do, which allows us to focus more attention on the people that need our help.
Halo Flight effort was recently recognized on a national level. The organization received a statement of compliance from Baldwin Safety and Compliance, meaning their safety standards are among the best in the industry. Halo Flight credits Keach for that accomplishment. Tonight on Chris 6 at 6, her story. Hear the story on this week's Veterans in Focus.
I'm your Taft neighborhood news reporter, Adam Beam. The gym that once stood here is on its way out, making way for new facilities and a fresh start for its students.
Taft ISD says that if you hear some extra clanging, have no worries. It's just the next step of their 2024 bond project. Construction crews tearing away at the school's former gymnasium.
What you see back here, they started yesterday, if you can believe that.
Last May, Taft residents voted to give district facilities a massive overhaul, from district-wide initiatives such as new security cameras, updated fields for athletes, and more.
I think that our teachers, our staff, our students are going to be in an environment that really maximizes their opportunity to learn and grow.
But major renovations like this one center around a brand new high school. The previous building left abandoned and heavily damaged in the aftermath of Hurricane Harvey.
There's a lot of history in these buildings and a lot of emotion that comes with seeing the buildings come down. You know, when the new high school gets constructed, it's going to be a state-of-the-art facility.
While a completion date may be further down the road, Garza promises the wait will be worth it.
It's a bittersweet moment, I think, as the community starts seeing this demolition go into full action as we prepare for the next steps.
The next phase of Taft's new high school is finding a construction company to build it. The deadline for bid proposals is set for August 12th. Reporting in Taft, I'm your neighborhood news reporter Adam Beam for Chris 6 News.
All right, are you hitting the roads? I know your team window's up with that AC on full blast, my friends. Here's what you've got to look forward to once you get going. A lot of folks out on SPID right now, but it looks to be moving smoothly. We'll take you to the maps now and show you around downtown. Looking a little busy as far as 37 comes into that crosstown interchange. Not bad. We're getting used to how those lanes kind of intersect and merge and where we need to go. Around town, pretty slow on Saratoga near Staples, but really that's about it as far as busyness. The usual slowdowns on Staples between SPID and Saratoga, a little more sluggish if you're heading north toward SPID, something to be aware of. But as you head out, make sure you stay safe and you drive safe. I'll have your forecast next. All right, here's your forecast. It's hot. Good night. Just kidding. But we've got a lot to talk about in the forecast. We're going to try to make it as cheerful as we can because really, it's not very cheerful to walk outside and experience this heat. We're in the upper 80s along the coast. We've got a 90-degree reading in Rockport right now where it feels like 99 degrees. Once you get past about Highway 77, we're kind of getting off the charts here. We're in those lower 100s. George West, you're reading right now 104, feeling like 100. It's not the first time you've done that this week, and today is Tuesday. So brace yourself. As I mentioned, the problem with this heat isn't that we can't handle it. We're South Texans. We're used to this. But there are going to be several days ahead where we see this weather. This is a repeat kind of situation. Don't be fooled by the nice cool start we had this morning. We will have that again tomorrow, along with the fog. But hot afternoons like this are hard to recover from when they come afternoon after noon after noon. You catch my drift here. So let's make sure we're practicing that heat safety. What can you expect as we head through the next couple of hours? Well, it's going to take a while to cool off. The heat of the day has definitely been quite hot. As we head into the overnight, the 70s will come back. We will quickly see those clear skies, allowing the heat of the day to radiate back up. This is only happening because we've got a little less humidity in the atmosphere. When we're drier, we can see bigger fluctuations in the temperature. So we've been very hot this afternoon. We'll once again feel deceivingly fresh tomorrow morning. It'll come with some fog, especially for inland neighborhoods. But as we get things going, it's going to be the heat that helps to disperse some of that fog too. So take a look at the forecast heading into dawn. That's when I think we'll see the lowest visibilities. Don't think it'll be quite as foggy for some neighborhoods that experienced more fog this morning, because as we head on into tomorrow, there will be a little bit more movement in the wind, and that kind of helps to keep that moisture from settling in place and really dropping visibility. But still, we'll get down to just a couple of miles visibility, and it's that same, I like to call it the fog fairway between Highway 77 and Highway 281. So if you're going to be commuting along those two major highways, also 181 and 37 that head inland, expect some of that fog right around dawn. Now what comes after it will be the heat. Heading into the overnight, we will hope to get a little bit of a break. Those feels like temperatures will take some time to respond, but we'll be feeling much fresher, at least for a brief time during that sunrise period. But that dry air that is allowing us to feel a little more fresh in the morning, this is the last overnight to enjoy that feeling, because as the tan and yellow kind of moves away from this map, what's coming in behind it is a good deal of moisture. And before you get too excited, it doesn't look like we're going to be able to put that to good use and get some rainfall out of it, because the bulk of it, you guessed it, it's heading north up the coast. Victoria Crossroads toward Houston, not really a situation for us to benefit from, but since we still have high pressure overhead keeping all of this heat locked in, we're just adding humidity to the mix here at the surface. So as you go toward the end of the week, hot temperatures will remain, but the feels like temperature will be more aggressive, more oppressive, because we're going to have more humidity into the mix. So unfortunately, as I mentioned, rain chances not looking very promising. Some models do suggest that Thursday could squeeze out a quick cheese-splash sprinkle. I'm not really betting on that unless you're in our northern neighborhoods closer to the Victoria Crossroads. I would not hold my breath. In fact, rain chances looking pretty dry over the next 7 days. So for our neighbors in Rockport and Kingsville, buckle up. The heat continues on with temperatures near the triple digits. I'm going to be bold and go with a high of 100 degrees tomorrow in Corpus Christi. On account of that humidity coming in, we'll be in those upper 90s the rest of the week.
School is here, which means time to get out that checklist. You'll need proof of residency, immunizations, and a birth certificate. I'm Michaela Chavez, your Sunrise Neighborhood News reporter downtown. If you don't have your kid's birth certificate, not a problem. I'll show you how easy it is to get one through the city, especially when it matters most. You know that little souvenir birth certificate from the hospital? At some point or another, you'll need to swap it for a certified copy.
As soon as a baby is born, what they have from the hospital is it's a souvenir copy.
Lots of parents get it done right about now, before school starts.
Especially, I call them all the littles, the ones that are going to pre-K or kindergarten for the first time. We see all of those parents this time of year.
Including parents like Ron Shaw, who needed a replacement before registering his daughter Kylie for school for the first time.
It was in the middle of moving and I couldn't find it, so I just came and grabbed it real quick.
For Ron, it was simple. No appointments, no hassle.
Just come right in. Like I said, it only took a minute just to do, about 2 minutes, and that's about it.
I think that a lot of people think that it's a government office and it's going to take forever to get their birth certificate. Like I said, we'll get you in, we get you out.
If you can't make it in person, do it online. It takes about 24 to 48 hours to process, but you'll have it in the mail probably within that same week. And if you're worried about short or long forms, don't be. Schools take both.
Any family that has moved to Corpus Christi and now they're registering their kids in school, as long as those kids were born in Texas, we can go into the state database and get that short form for them, and the schools will take them for registration.
But before you go, you'll need two things. $23 for the birth certificate.
We take cash, we take debit and credit cards.
And a valid photo ID.
So the parent does need to be listed on that birth certificate, and we will verify the name on the record with the ID that is provided to us.
Vital Records is open Monday through Friday from 8 to 4:45 and are even open during lunch for those needing to make a quick stop. With your neighborhood news downtown, I'm your Sunrise reporter Michaela Chavez, Chris 6 News.
You're watching Chris 6, part of the Scripps News Group.
Well, several residents in Falfurrias waited to have their first cup of coffee with their local police department.
I'm very concerned about my community.
Today was Falfurrias' first annual Coffee with a Cop. Officers sat down to engage with neighbors and listen to their concerns. Neighbors brought up curfew times, community safety, and other topics.
wanted to start it up. We wanted the community to come out to engage with us. We want to hear their problems. We want to give transparency of what's going on in the city.
But we appreciate everything that the Las Vegas Police Department has been doing. They're very, very involved with the community.
The Falfurrias Police Department is holding other community events as well. National Night Out is scheduled for next week, August 5th. And I saw a little espresso making right there back in there. So
I saw somebody throwing around the iced coffee.
Yes, I'm an iced coffee type of girl. What about you?
Me too. And my mom, it could be super, super hot. She will still have it hot.
Will she? Oh my goodness.
Sense. I don't know. It's not for the faint of heart. Tomorrow I'm going a little bold, y'all. I think we may actually hit 100 degrees here in Corpus Christi because we weren't far from it today. And we're going to stay in those upper 90s this week. The difference maker will be in all the humidity we're expecting for the second half of the week. So at 97 is going to feel probably a little worse than 100 tomorrow if we get there. Just remember, practice that heat safety as we head to the next couple days.
Alrighty, have that iced coffee ready. Thank you for joining us. We will see you here at 6 o'clock. Have a good one.
Bye.